Welcome everyone to another fun game of old school Magic the Gathering. Today you have kind of a casual match between a mono blue Apprentice Wizard deck and Goblins. These decks not fully powered, but wound up being really equal to each other, and it was just really fun. Some classic cards. I won't spoil it for anyone. If you want to skip right to the game, you can click the timestamp in the description below. I am going to quickly cover the deck text so you can see what is being played. But I really love this game. I would love to see more of specifically this Apprentice Wizard deck in the future. I didn't make it, but someone else did. And let's just dig right into the deck text. And here is the Apprentice Wizard deck. And so this deck kind of starts with really building around the Apprentice Wizard. It's a creature. It's a 0/1 creature for 3 mana. And really you want to use its abilities. You could turn 1 island into 3 colorless mana. And the question is, what can you do with that? So this deck wants to try to play out Amnesia, which is pretty much like, it's a blue Mind Twist to empty your opponent's hand. It works well with X spells such as Power Sink, Brain Geyser. You could use it to play out a Clone. Clone is 1 blue and 3 colorless. If you have 2 Apprentice Wizards out, you could get out a Triskelion with 2 of them. Or maybe even a late game Colossus of Sardinia. I really like this deck, especially if you don't have all the Power 9 cards for fast mana. Apprentice Wizard could kind of come in and help you really boost out some powerful creatures and spells earlier in the game. Last card I want to call out here is I really love seeing 2 Backfires. Backfire deals 1 damage to target creature's controller for each 1 damage dealt to you by that creature, so it's a great way, potentially to kind of take out some big creature threats that are on the board, or just to make those creatures worse. And you see a play set of Factories and 3 Strip Mines in here as well. Overall, super cool. Would love to see some of the damage the Apprentice Wizard can do. And here we have the old school Goblin deck. So really, this deck certainly wants to play out Goblin King as its kind of Lord creature. Goblin King is a 2/2 and gives every other Goblin +1/+1 and Mountain Walk. That is really helpful, especially if you're playing with a Blood Moon. So you play a Blood Moon, your opponent's dual lands, their Mishra's Factories all become mountains, and then if you have Mountain Walk, suddenly all your Goblins are unblockable with the Goblin King. So that's certainly a really powerful combination in the deck. This deck also runs all of its shock spells, so it's got the Lightning Bolt, the Chain Lightnings to do damage. But really the most explosive deck here is the Goblin Grenade. So for 1 red, and you sacrifice a Goblin to deal 5 damage. Now 5 damage takes out, Juzum Djinns, Serra Angels. It takes out a Triskelion. It really could kill almost every creature in the format, and it's made even better if you're able to fork it. So forking the Goblin Grenade for 10 damage is the most explosive, single thing you could do in old school. Now, of course, it could be countered and whatnot, but if it comes through, it's really fun way to win a game. Get them down to 10 life and fork the Goblin Grenade. You do see here, again, a Wheel of Fortune is just vital card draw for red. Red just doesn't have a lot of card draw in the format, so you have the 1 Wheel of Fortune in there. Things like Ball Lightning I play with. It can be explosive for 3 red to come out with a 6/1 Trampler. It does run into issues with like Maze of Iths. It could be, it's a 6/1, so a Triskelion can just ping it with one of its bolts. Has a lot of weaknesses, but I like running it just because it is a fun card. Lastly, in this deck, I tried to put a little spin on the mono red Goblins by splashing green for the Sylvan Libraries and the Regrowth, just because in the past I've kind of struggled with top decking with Goblins, so trying to experiment with throwing a couple green cards in there and seeing how it plays. Alright, we'll jump into the match here. Goblins on the left, and we'll call it the Apprentice Wizard on the right. Here's an opening turn Goblin King with the Black Lotus. That's great. Now again, if Goblins, so I personally love playing Goblins, probably my favorite archetype in all different Magic formats. Obviously very limited in Old School, but you do have the Goblin Grenade from Fallen Empire, so you can make quite a fun deck. But again, not every deck needs to be like the #1 top competitive deck, and I find Goblins really fun to play here. And with that Goblin King out, it's just coming in for 2. If you could get a couple of those 1-drop Goblins out, that'd be quite good. I mean, passing turn, showing you no lands in play. Must have kept that hand for the Lotus and the Goblin King. Okay, there's a Lightning Bolt that ends a turn. Oh, nope. A Spell Blast. Target spell is countered. X is the cost of the spell, and so obviously for Bolt, you just costs 2 to counter. And there's the Goblin of the Flarg. So 1/1 with Mountain Walk. Very odd stipulation of anytime you control a dwarf, you bury it. I don't know if that has ever happened in the history of this card. Has anyone ever lost their Goblin of the Flarg by playing out a dwarf? I don't know. But normally, I've played, even when you're playing in competitive tournaments, Goblin of the Flarg is actually pretty much the best Goblin, I would say, in the format. Because most people are playing with a lot of the dual lands, so normally he's unblockable with the Mountain Walk. And then you could Bloodlust him. He has 5 damage coming in unblockable. Here he's a 2/2 because of the Goblin King, so definitely the best Gobbo. Now in this matchup, this player I don't think is playing with any duels, so no Mountain Walk. And there is a powerful Goblin Mon's Goblin Raiders. Damn right, you better counter that one. And again, as I always think, I'm like, how many people have done a counter spell on a Mon's Goblin? I don't know. But at this point, you're starting to fall behind with all these little 2/2 guys coming out, so. But now there's 2 factories out. The factories, as 3/3 blockers, can block both of these guys. And there's a Psy Blast on the King. There he goes. So one thing as someone who's played a lot of Goblins is that the Goblin King is just, every time he comes out, he's gets Psy Blasted, bolted, swords. He barely lasts a turn or 2 when you play with him. But this is pretty good here for the red deck. I mean, he's down to 9 life, and so if you fork a Goblin Grenade, that's 10 damage, that's game. Or maybe a Ball Lightning comes out or something. Need another land for that. Okay. Oh, and a Shatter. Still going to take 2 damage, but that's a really good Shatter there. And the Goblin Raiders are back. Just a ridiculously long flavor text. I've noticed, a surprising amount of people I've played on webcam, for instance, actually, they always ask, like, what does this card do? I'm just like, yeah, it's just a 1/1 with the ridiculous text on it. I think this is the only Goblin card from Alpha, the Alpha set that I own an Alpha copy of. There is a Lightning Bolt. Down to 5. I mean, it's just... Oh, and a Goblin Grenade for 5, and that's it. I mean, just so quick. So, Goblins are very inconsistent in Old School, but when you get a decent kind of flow with them, you only need 2-3 mana, and you can win really quickly. So we didn't get to see much from the Apprentice Wizard deck there. We'll see game 2 what he's got. Here comes the Goblin Balloon Brigade. Absolutely love the artwork on this one. 1/1 that you can go flying to. And this is good, again, with something like Bloodlust. You give it flying and then come in with a Bloodlust. It's going to get backfired, though. Love backfire. So backfire deals 1 damage to target creature's controller for each 1 damage dealt to you by that creature. So if I attack, and I am going to attack because Goblins are reckless, so they come in, and that does 1 damage to him, and thus 1 damage to the Goblin controller. He's actually going to flip right away on the Taiga. There's not much green mana in this Goblin deck, and so that is painful to lose the Taiga. And here comes a mountain. So would have had 3 lands out for a Goblin King or something, but you have to wait. Okay, strip mine, and he's going to strip another mountain. Oh boy. And there is the Apprentice Wizard. I just love, yeah, again, the artwork from Dan Frazier. You could tell by the background it's Dan Frazier, but this wizard doesn't seem to really know what he's doing. He's a little confused. Okay. Apprentice Wizard with 3 islands in his hand. Oh, and there's the Bloodlust. So that's going to come in for 5 damage. So he's down to 11 already. I mean, Goblins are moving real quick here. We'll see what he top decked. Hopefully not another island. Ooh, Amnesia. Again, love. The Apprentice Wizard's so good. Oh, and a regrowth Goblin King. And Blood Moon doesn't really do much in this matchup, but the regrowth, to regrowth the Bloodlust would have been the move. Beautiful Amnesia. Art by Mark Poole. But yeah, Apprentice Wizard with that 3 colorless, turning 1 island into 3 colorless. Obviously they're working beautifully to cover the 3 and the Amnesia cost. That said, Goblins are just going to keep coming in. There's another balloon. Oh, and it's going to get countered. So we got a Goblin balloon countered this game. Mon's Goblin Raiders last game. But yeah, I mean, that Amnesia, I mean, the game would have been over pretty much with the regrowthing the Bloodlust. So Amnesia keeping the game going. Oh, and there's the Goblin Grenade for lethal. But we are going to get, a Spell Blast. Man, you love when you get a counter. And so, yeah, so Goblin Grenade, when it's cast, the Goblin is sacrificed as part of the casting cost. So this is the weakness where I would have had to, and I didn't, but I would have had to have sacrificed. So yeah, the Raider is going to go away. Love seeing counter spells when you're, saving you from losing a game. Uh-oh. And a Triskelion. I mean, this card just dominates Goblin decks because you could just ping all the Goblin. The Goblins are mostly 1/1s. And he's just gonna get rid of it. Because you wanna stop the Goblin Grenades before they happen. I have played games where I do the Goblin Grenade and then someone says, oh wait, can I ping with Triskelion? But you can't, because once the grenade is on the stack, again, part of the casting cost is sacrificing the Goblin, so gotta kill the Goblin before that happens. Okay, another Apprentice Wizard. Coming in for 3 with the Triskelion. Ooh, okay, so we've got, I think I saw a, oh boy, I saw a Ball Lightning there. A Shatter, and I could have shattered, you could have shattered the Triskelion there, but not having the mana, and another Triskelion is going to come out. And only requires 2 Apprentice Wizards to make the trike. Oh, another regrowth and Ball Lightning. And that's it. I mean, that spell blast on the grenade was saved the Apprentice Wizard deck. But yeah, basically there he could have attacked for 3 and I think shot all the trike spikes for win. So we're getting turn 1 land pass, turn 1 factory pass. Here comes the mountain. These matches always seem to go to game 3. I don't really... Can't just put it away. Okay, chain lightning. Of course he has no way to bounce that back. He is going to come in for 2, and there's no lightning bolt in response. Oh, that's a painful for Goblins to draw a card and pass turn. And that is a Serendib Efreet. It's the revised copy with the incorrect artwork. And there's a ball lightning. And he is going to actually block it, surprisingly. Oh, I guess that's a good move, because you don't want to go down too low too quick. So the fake Serendib Efreet is in the graveyard. Soaring, and then a Juggernaut. Wow. Okay, Apprentice Wizard deck putting on some pressure and forking a lightning bolt. Both of them on the... I'm sorry, one on the Juggernaut. He's a 5/3, one on the player. Fork is so cool. So here I feel like Goblin deck on the back foot, kind of responding to the Apprentice Wizard, and he's gonna go right away. Probably to stop the Goblin King or another ball lightning from coming out. Okay, it's a City of Brass. And the Sylvan Light, and just immediately snap countering. I think that's a huge counter spell on the Sylvan Library there, because being able to just dig for a ball lightning or goblin grenades and stuff. Must have top decked that one. There's the Goblin King. Okay, 14 to 12 is the life total. I mean, both these decks are just coming at each other, and there's a backfire again. Now, if you're ahead of life, backfiring is pretty cool because your opponent isn't going to be able to win. If they would kill themselves first on the attacks. No, here comes a double attack, and I'm going to do a lightning bolt and let 2 go through. Okay. Oh, and another Goblin King. And so here they buff each other. So this will be a 3/3. Now, yep, there's a little error. The Goblin player just taking 2. Just taking 1 there. So backfire does damage, not 1 damage, but equal to the damage dealt, so should have done 3. That was a misplay on the backfire there. I'm gonna clone the Goblin King, which all these Goblin Kings buff each other then. So they're all 4/4s. That's a spicy move there. He still has a factory to block though, so maybe Apprentice Wizard feeling good about his ability to block. I think Goblin's just gonna attack, and if you're playing Backfire incorrectly here, let's go see what he does. So he's gonna go in there. So yeah, I mean so I think so there's only one turn where Backfire was played incorrectly, so gonna go down to 4 life. 4 is gonna go through. He's at 2. The clone kills each other. Interesting use of clone, knowing he was gonna block the Goblin King and use it as a removal there. 4-2. So he's got the Goblin King attacks next turn. There's the factory to block. And there's a Psy Blast, which I'm curious. So, I mean, that's going to be a tie game. That's going to do 4 to me, 2 to him. Game 3's a draw. Now, I'm curious. I've never been in like a competitive tournament situation where someone does a card like that purposely to draw the game. I guess you're allowed to do it, right? Because the games are timed. I mean, this wasn't like at an official tournament or anything. But that's a tie game in Game 3. That means you're going to replay game number 3. That was a really fun one because I was just back and forth these two decks. So go one more time. I mean, they're fairly equal decks, so pretty funny the draw game though. All right, and here we go to Game 4 Mulligan from the Apprentice Wizard. Okay, Sora Lotus and a Goblin King there. There's also a Lotus and an Apprentice Wizard. Oh boy. So Goblins using 5 cards in their opening turn, putting out the Mons Goblin, the Goblin King with the Lotus, and getting green Mox out there. We're gonna need to see a response here from Apprentice Wizard. Again, playing out with its own Lotus. And I just wonder, using a Black Lotus on an Apprentice Wizard. I always say, regardless of who wins, the Wizard deck wins in my heart for that one. And it's tough with Apprentice Wizard. It's a really cool card, but you're just like in this situation, right? Like you're just not going to use it as a blocker because you need the mana. So 4 damage is coming in right away. So see a counterspell in his hand and another Apprentice Wizard. Looks like a Chaos Orb and a Trike. Okay, he's going to use... And he's going to flip right away. So yeah, Apprentice Wizard gets the orb out and the activation. And probably the right move there. Definitely the right move to take out the Goblin King. And I think the Apprentice Wizard deck here really wants to draw another island to get that counterspell threat going. Like I was saying before, Goblin King just always gets taken out. Trying to think, I guess he could... Yeah, it's just passing turn. Not getting that island. Not too scary just to get hit by with 1 damage every turn. Let's see if Goblins got anything. Okay, I mean, Blood Moon here at least would take out, his the Apprentice Wizards. The Mishra Factories aren't going to do anything. That's really about it. Blood Moon not too scary, and that Taiga is just a mountain. And there is the factory, which is just a mountain now. Okay. I mean, that allows the Mons Goblin to keep coming in for one every turn. And there, and there is another Blood Moon. And finally, the second island comes out. And another Apprentice Wizard. So with 2 Apprentice Wizards, you could tap that for 6. You could play out the Triskelion. Yeah, I love the board state here. You've got 2 Blood Moons, 2 Moxes, 4 lands, all of that for a Mons Goblin Raider. So if Goblins kind of stalls out here, that's going to give Apprentice Wizard time to cook up some spells. And a Wheel of Fortune. Oh no. That's bit. Oh. Yeah, Triskelion was going to come out. Chetravis was going to come out. And the Goblins now has a lot of mana to maybe top deck some burn spells, some fireballs, and lightning bolts. That was a huge wheel. So you see a counter spell there, just seeing what he's taking. Looks like he had a Juggernaut. Oh, and getting the ball lightning off the wheel. Yeah. It's tough. So Goblins is tough because there's just not a lot of card draw on the deck. So many times when I've played it, you just sit there top decking nothing. But to pull the wheel and get the 7 new cards is huge. And then I see a ball lightning coming out. Another Gobbo coming out. Okay, so a Strip Mine, Clone. Guessing the Juggernaut's going to be put out here. May's already down. Is that 5 health? Or no? That seems too low. Here it is, 5 health. That's a Goblin Grenade. So here comes Juggernaut. Could stop the Mons from attacking. And there is a regrowth. So looking at that graveyard, I mean, you could regrowth the Goblin King, because then you gain Mountain Walk, and the factory is a mountain due to the Blood Moon. So if you want to, or you just chuck out the ball lightning, kind of force him. I think that would actually do lethal. Okay, ball lightning's coming out. I mean, that was just a monster wheel for the Goblin deck. So you're gonna get 6, 7, 8 damage, assuming there's nothing else. You can come in with 8 damage. He could block 3 of it. I guess he could block with the Apprentice Wizard as well. Yeah. It's gonna tap the. So that's a power sink for. Is that for? Oh, that's for 3. Yeah, so X is 3. Goblins has exactly 3. That's gonna be it. That's not gonna resolve, and I think that's gonna be the game. I guess he could have blocked with the Apprentice Wizard. Yeah, it would have went down to 1 life, I guess. Right? I guess that was the bet to live another turn, but you would have just been. Then you would have still had the issue with the Goblins next turn. So. Yeah, because this is coming in. This is even with the block on the Juggernaut. This is going to be 5 damage and 5 life. Oof. I mean, honestly, those were really fun games. It was really like the Goblin deck. I just enjoy playing, and this Apprentice Wizard deck I feel like has a lot of potential. You know, even if you don't have all the Power 9 cards, it's still, like, you could do a lot with that wizard. I'd love to see another variant of this one in the future. Goblins picking up the victory in game number 4 there. Yep, thank you for watching, everyone.